let's kick off what's trending with outrage and calls for investigation from the family of a 24-year-old Youth Corper, Abdul Samad Jamiu, who was killed during a shooting at Shagari Estate in Abuja. Now, in a new video, his family is seen confronting the Nigerian army on Monday, telling them to take back their official statement that Jamiu's tragic killing was due to a stray bullet. In the video, his family is visibly upset with the military for publicly stating that their son was caught in the crossfire of troops responding to armed robbers. Let's watch.
It's unheard of for that, for unarmed human being. You shot it. We are even trying to manage the situation. You now go out there and put up a publication. Do you know how many social media and various media houses that publish the same nonsense we put up yesterday? Change the narrative all of a sudden. In fact, before leaving the house, my wife was telling me that the army will change the whole narrative. This person we are talking about is the person that he's passing out next month. Next month.
Now for background, Jamiu, who was set to pass out from NYSC just next month, was suddenly killed on Saturday while watching over his younger siblings while their parents were away. Now, the army had said that when they arrived at the scene, they came under gunfire from robbers, and that's what led to Jamiu's killing. But the family maintains that there was no exchange of fire and that Abdul Samad was shot inside his room. Now, the family shared videos of the aftermath. Viewers' discretion is advised. Let's take a look.
I've been praying to God to cover him, to shield him for me. Here we are today. Nigeria has happened to me. Look
at the door. I think the bullet passed through the place. This is the second bullet. Look at the blood. This was the one that passed through that door.
Ayal, the family is now calling for an independent investigation outside the military control. And before I come to you, I'll just take some quick reactions from X. Kate says, how many armed robbers eventually got shot or caught? Why are innocent civilians always getting caught in the crossfire during such responses? It's to tell his family sorry now, right? How will sorry fix this permanent pain for them? Then Cole said, in a real country where justice is served, this house should be sealed for investigation. Occupants provided temporary accommodation. Forensic units should be on the ground and eyewitness interrogations conducted. But this is Nigeria, where insanity is the order of the day. And I'll leave you with that because I think there was once a time that Rufai, you actually made these kind of similar comments that, you know, when something happens, it should be sealed off. People shouldn't get in.
Every crime scene leaves a trail.
Exactly.
That's the essence of forensics. How can you comb up a trail? But you see, we have a structural defect. And the defect is so big that you can never see forensics investigations and bungle interest matters. It took the family to come out to say, no, the side of the story of the military was not true. Because they had put out a narrative. So it becomes a narrative war. And see, I have dealt with a lot of cases like this, where you have to amplify the lots of people that feel down and weak in society. They try to twist the narrative, and when they twist it, nothing is done. The second question we should ask is, can we even have an autopsy on that body? I don't know. I know based on the Lagos coroner's law, if people die in extraneous circumstances, the state has an autopsy. I don't know what it is like in Abuja. Secondly, then even when you go to court, how is this going to continue? What's the case going to be like? Who is going to come out of this? Are they just going to tell the family members to go like that? You see, in the end, there's so much injustices that happen. And that's why sometimes you wonder what is going on in Nigeria.
Right.
This case of this mother crying reminds me of the case of the mother in Jos that was crying, clutching onto her dead son. And that's what Nigeria has become. And when we say Nigeria happened, they say, oh, don't say that.
Right.
I don't want to say that, but the question we should ask is, it was because this man was in Nigeria, and there's a level of anyhowness, this happened.
Right.
So please, we want an independent forensic investigation, also an autopsy to be conducted.
Absolutely.
We even want the extraction of the bullet, so we even see the kind of military killer bullets. or let's even see if it's a military cadre bullet, then if the military is found complicit, would they take responsibility? Would they even pay reparation? I'm not saying they are found complicit. In a case, then the last stroke is, how can we better manage this? A case of armed robbery should not lead to a loss of life of individuals.
Right. Absolutely. And I mean,
okay.
So
there are a few things that for me, and of course, until there's an independent investigation done, we cannot make definite statements around this, because like Rufai, you mentioned, it's now a narrative, what he said, she said, who is actually right. But I do believe that the boy's family, Abdul Samad, they deserve closure by ensuring that justice is served. The first question I would ask around this, issue with the robbers is that the military is not responsible for internal security.
Right. Exactly.
It should be the police. So the first question I'll be asking is that why was the military engaged in gunfire with armed robbers? What was the police doing? Why was it their responsibility to do that? Then the second part of the question then would be that the account of the family. They said that the young man was in his room, and they came to their house and shot at close range. That's where the autopsy would determine as to how, because there's a difference of impact when it's close range and when it is, stray bullet from a far distance. And then the motive. If indeed the family's account, meaning it was premeditated, it was deliberate, why? Why was he why was he targeted? And if this is the case, we need to investigate, because we've had stories like this where the military would debunk and say that nothing of the sort happened, but there are contrary accounts to that effect. And this further deepens the mistrust between the people and the military, and to see whether or not they are for. And just to say, because earlier today we're speaking for the military, speaking about the army, how they ought to be proper, their welfare ought to be better, so that they're able to serve Nigerians better. We recognize and acknowledge the level of sacrifices that they make, but also when they err, we should also be bold enough to speak about it.
Absolutely.
And we deserve the truth. Let this matter not die, let it not be covered. We need to investigate who was behind the people who came to that house, and nothing should happen to the family members who've been bold enough to come out to speak, because they would do this in honor of their son who has lost his life untimely. There are too many lives in Nigeria cut short by mistakes or errors or even deliberate attempts sometimes, as we've heard in this story. So what we are asking for, we're calling for, is an independent forensic audit. The crime scene would also tell, because the sister mentioned that the way that investigators saw the state of the room, you would tell that a door was shot at. It wasn't just a stray bullet. So there are many areas that we can actually uncover the truth. But would it be done? We hope that Nigeria will do the right thing.
Absolutely. And as we talk about how violence is increasingly taking over aspects of people's lives across the country, let's head to Adamawa State, where this morning we're getting new details about how 29 people were brutally killed in a terrorist attack in Guyaku community in Gombe local government area on Sunday. Now, the state governor, Amadu Fintiri, confirming the attack with a visit to the location on Monday, saying the attackers operated for several hours, they destroyed property, they burned places of worship, including a church, according to videos that we're seeing online that you see there.
We wake up today with heartbroken with these incidents of the criminal activities of the Boko Haram in this community, and I've come to make assessment myself and to calm the people. We wake up today with heartbroken with these incidents of the criminal activities of the Boko Haram in this community, and I've come to make assessment.
Now, Dr. Abati, while the governor is attributing the attack to Boko Haram, late on Monday, the Islamic State group claimed responsibility for this attack in a post on Telegram, and also a number of outlets were reporting this, BBC, Reuters, and the Associated Press. But this attack is also just one of a number that took place within just 24 hours, highlighting the depth and the scale of the security crisis in multiple communities. But at the same time, let's head over to New York very quickly, where a new video emerged on social media on Monday showing how U.S. government claims of a Christian genocide in Nigeria have now taken on a new form, with this massive billboard in the middle of New York City saying, "End the Christian genocide in Nigeria," complete with imagery of a burning church, a mother holding a child. That billboard says it was paid for by acrossnigeria.org, and when we went onto this website, the landing page essentially uses the same imagery that we saw on this billboard, and the organization itself is founded by a pastor identified as Brad Brandon, who says he's working to bring literacy training to Muslim communities and aid to Christian communities in Nigeria. But I mean, Dr. Abati, it's jarring to see, a billboard like that in the middle of New York City, and taking this with the Adamawa attack. How do you assess the situation?
Okay, that billboard in New York City was paid for by a group called acrossnigeria.org, and it was stated there conspicuously. Well, perhaps the persons behind it are Nigerians, and of course it's disturbing to see that right in New York. This was not in Times Square, but at least in a place where the advertisement, the protest was visible. So you ask the question, where are the lobby groups that the Nigerian government paid for to whitewash the image of Nigeria and to promote Nigerian interest? They seem to have just collected their deposit and they seem to have gone to sleep. But the thing to note here is that, look, when there is a crisis anywhere in the world, because of globalization, because of the world becoming one village, the story will be told elsewhere in other parts of the world. We have passed that stage where, you moralize and you say, oh, if you are a Nigerian, you don't go and criticize your country internationally. In the age of the technical reproducibility of the age, there's nothing that is again hidden in the sun. And you have that post there saying there is a genocide in Nigeria. And it's unfortunately affirmed by the incident you have reported from Adamawa, where you said 29 persons died and the Islamic State has claimed responsibility. But there's another report that says that, in fact, 49 persons were killed between weekend and yesterday in Adamawa State, which you mentioned, in Benue State, where a group of mourners were killed in a place called Ushongo local government area, Gombe local government area in Adamawa, Ushongo local government area, a group of mourners in Benue State, and the balance of the report from Kankara local government area in Katsina State. About 49 people. These are human beings, within a space of how many days? Now, turning attention to the reality that, death, killing, kidnapping, deprivation, sorrow, tears have become almost a regular occurrence in Nigeria. In fact, they have become, a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that is why you can properly contextualize this statement by President Obasanjo that, look, the government, the state, the Nigerian state, has been remiss, grossly, sadly, in terms of its responsibility to protect lives and properties in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Now, as we say repeatedly, this will be a wake-up call again for the Nigerian state, for the government, to be reminded that its job is to continue to protect the people and to ensure that the people are protected. Look at the young man, Jamiu Rabiu, right? Samad Jamiu. The incident occurred at 2 a.m. He was in his room with his siblings. The house was properly walled, even with barbed wires. And then the brigade of brigades, that was the arm of the government, of the military that was involved. They said they got a distress call and in the crossfire. How will a man sleeping in his room in a properly walled building be caught in a crossfire? And that is why the family and the spokesperson for the family is saying that there must be justice for Jamil and that the officers involved must be prosecuted, and that the military must offer an apology and must retract the statement that it issued. Those are the details. Because we cannot afford to have, a Nigerian army that lies. I mean, the big thing about the military is about discipline.
Right.
It's about integrity. It's about courage. And then you have the Nigerian Armed Forces, the Nigerian Army wing of it, telling lies. No, that is the most unfortunate part of it. And again, a reiteration of the fact that safety, security is a problem in this country.
Absolutely.
It's Katsina, Adamawa, and Benue in the last few days. Where would there be another crisis tomorrow?
Very important
This
question.
is the dilemma that we face in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
You know the acrossnigeria.org you mentioned, Dr. Abati, just a quick check on their website and just a background, because you're saying the founders of the billboard in New York. The first thing you see when you get out is just statistics on Christians being killed in Nigeria, saying that 72% of Christians being killed in the world were found in Nigeria. And if you go further, it leads to a website that gives more details around the work of those behind this billboard. It's by Pastor Brad Brandon.
Right.
He's done a lot of work in northern Nigeria, and so he's talked about how they've come to bring literacy, education, they built churches, and so first, and I remember we said this earlier on, that it's not just Nigerians who are giving evidence of what America has called Christian persecution. It is that we also have, don't forget that we have a number of mission fields in Nigeria funded by Americans, people who have done this over the years, especially in northern Nigeria. So they see firsthand what happened. And so even if the matter isn't really, taken as priority by this government, as we see, the others who work abroad are amplifying the voices of the people. So just to mention that this man is not even Nigerian.
He's not Nigerian.
He's Pastor Brad Brandon. I just checked the website.
Because he works with Nigeria.
Yes, I'm saying that he comes here a lot. That is the work that he's done here.
You can't be.
And there are NGOs in Nigeria feeding fat on all of this.
It's not about feeding fat, Dr. Abati.
No, it's part of the reality.
It's about
There's no one way of analyzing it.
It's about telling the truth, Dr. Abati. Christians are being killed. These are data. You can contest data. Data nothing care about our feelings. For the close to 100 years, you've had Christian missionaries that are from American origin in the northern part of this country.
Yes.
And
Kaduna
Adamawa and the likes and all of that. And apart from feeding for Dr. Abati, these people have also helped to develop the northern part of this country.
They built schools.
Some of the best schools in the north.
I'm not talking about the missionaries. I'm talking about the Nigerians.
I'm coming, Dr. Abati. It's not a case of only the Nigerians. It's a case of the fact of what they are seeing on ground. They have also helped to build schools and all of that. So they also come into the ecosystem. They count the bodies. The bodies that don't even get reported by Nigerian press. And that's why when we say there's Christian genocide, I mean, we're not oblivious of the fact that they are killing Muslims, but there's Christian genocide. I mean, let's say it the way it is.
Right.
And these are based on evidence and facts. Right. I know genocidal talk is a touchy issue. Everywhere in the world, people like to deny it and say it doesn't exist and everything. But these are facts. Fact doesn't care about your... If you have facts to contradict this 72% of this, contradict it with facts.
And
actually, doesn't care about feelings and emotions.
We've called again and again for a congressional, for our own Senate hearing. That hasn't happened. We've called again and again for investigations. It just seems like the Nigerian government is silent on this, and it's quite a shame that it's now foreigners who are taking up this advocacy.
You hear when Kabiru Adamu expressly told us that it is not sure that the Nigerian government has a place where they record the data of people that are in kidnap zones as we speak, or kidnapped in this country. Right. That they rely on people like his data. That's independent, that's Kabiru Adamu.
Absolutely.
And when it's not a case of this thing. We want our country to work.
Exactly. And, when it essentially takes on an international...
It's not just a group. It's everywhere.
Right.
Kidnapping, terrorism. And the basic thing is about the responsibility of government to play its part. Simple. That's the residual point, not about, sectionalizing or... It's everybody that is involved. Absolutely. And security is the job of government. Let them get the job done.
At the end of the day,